Let me say something about politics here for a minute. People love it when I do this.
Yes.
Go for it. Why not?
Open the door.
Did the man with the staccato delivery at the top of The World in 60 Seconds inspire you?
Yes, he did.
Congress has been raising all across the country. It's a red way. It breaks across the jaws.
They're fighting in the chamber like boxers in a ring.
Yes, that's exactly what.
To this reporter's eye, I've never seen anything like it.
Virginia's a bellwether state.
The takeaway was that because the normally safe Virginia, for Democrats, Virginia governor's race went to the Republican, and that the New Jersey governor, a Democrat who's probably going to win, had such a tight race instead of an easy victory as was predicted, that the midterms will go really well for Republicans and President Biden's agenda is in disarray and all that kind of stuff. Do you think here's what I say, that no matter which office is in power, which party is in power, you tell me if you agree with this, that we now want such instant gratification and want things to be changed or done so quickly. Now, remember, Biden and the Democrats did very well just a year ago, just a year. Now, this bellwether is Republicans fighting back. I think that we want things done so quickly, and if you're not doing a good job after like 3 months, we're going to vote the other way. You know,
Agreed.
Don't you think that shorter time than we've ever given, because the midterms typically go to the non-power party.
Yeah,
right?
True. And I will say that Biden's approval ratings in a month have dropped like 10 points.
Dramatically. It's like he wins over Trump and then immediately falls off a cliff.
But I also think right now, what people gauge is prices. I was thinking it goes back to money, and it is getting more expensive to live, clearly.
Yep.
I mean, gas is going up. And you see the arguments of what's the gas tied to, who's really at fault for that. It all reflects back on who's president at that time.
Probably right.
And so to me...
Maybe. I don't think gas prices ever do.
Oh, really?
I think they factor into voters' minds.
They may factor into voters' minds, but they don't factor into... I don't think a president is responsible for the price of a gallon of gas.
Biggie's right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I do.
The president gets blamed.
I do.
Yeah.
I think this president has stopped fracking and shut down that pipeline, and I think that has hurt gas prices. Not entirely because of him, but I think that's part of it. And so I think
it's capitalism at its best. I think that is completely run by OPEC and by American gas companies, and I don't think the government factors into it at all, except for taxes that are on gas and fees and fines.
But he did
like
do
that.
those things I just said, right? He's gotten rid of the pipeline, and he's gotten rid of the fracking. I mean, that has factored into this, in my opinion.
I will tell you, too, a lot of times, like you'd see, which he hasn't done, somebody will, like a Republican president will say, well, gas prices are going up, so, we're going to open up the emergency reserves to lower the price. And that causes OPEC to then be like, screw it.
Yeah, I don't know about
lower
gas
the price. But I do think the general cost of everything going up, that always reflects back on who's in charge at that moment.
Oh, I agree with you.
I
think that's true.
However, wages have gone up in a lot of places. You see a lot of places hiring because their wages have gone up. Wages go up, prices go up.
You think that has? I think the prices are up because of supply chain.
Well, there's that
all
too.
kind of
It's a combination. It's not just one thing. There's several facters in play.
Yeah,
and jobs are out there if people want jobs.
I thought they're hiring out of desperation. I think that nobody's working. And I do know this. Now, a year ago during the election, once Biden won, people called here and said, well, I hope you enjoyed the low gas prices. And we were like, yeah, okay, whatever. And now here we are a year later, and the gas prices are through the roof. I don't know enough to know if Biden really caused that.
I would be surprised if it's that simple.
I do too. I would too.
Like Dave, to today's point, it's a very complex economy.
Oh, no doubt about it. But I do think the original point was I think people have so little patience now for whichever person or party is in power that we always swing back the other way, only a year or two later.
It's true, and I agree with your boy Chris Christie, who I agree with, and I
like him.
I listen to him, and just because he has a little bit of sense in his brain, and he will tell you, well, this is a bellwether for this election that happened in Virginia, New Jersey, these places. And Trump is the head of the Republican Party right now, and his hand is on it. But he's like, look, he says, things in politics don't move like everything else, like on your smartphone. He says, Biden's been in office for 9 months.
Right.
And Trump has been out for 9 months. You've got to give this another year,
Right.
where Trump
Right.
may not be
Yeah.
as strong on the Republican Party as he is now. Now he may be. He says, but 9 months is not a very long time at all.
Exactly, and yet we react. So, and I heard what you just said, Virginia, a bellwether. So we know Democrats are in trouble in a year. So if I was a Democrat, I'd say, well, get out and vote. You know,
But if you'd have had a Republican governor in there for 8 years as the governor of Virginia, you may have gone Democrat.
Maybe.
And
that's
state
a-
races are completely different from Senate. And
I don't think anybody's ever satisfied with what's there.
Exactly.
It's like most of the time, it's like, oh, get them out, vote them out. But I do believe if I were Democrats right now, if I were head of the Democratic Party, I'd say, look what's coming in a year. If this is a bellwether, we better mobilize, and you better go vote if you're a Democrat, or that's going to
I
happen.
think they're trying to do that, and it's not quite worked there yet.
Well, I mean, this is the first we've seen it now. The
True.
Republican won, where he usually doesn't win in Virginia. And so if I were in charge of the Democratic Party, I would say,
And that happened fast.
don't let that happen. Don't let it be a bellwether. Hannah, you're talking about gas prices. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know exactly if it's all related, but I will gladly pay higher gas prices if that means my oceans and my lands are protected.
Cut her off.
Kelly, you're the environmentalist on this show.
I am an environmentalist, but
Talk about it.
when it gets up around 3.25, I start to bristle a little bit now.
Turn on the pipeline.
I tell you, I don't know about that, Hannah. I like the ocean now. I like to swim.
Yeah, Hannah, he's a $2 environmentalist. As long as that gas price floats at $2, he'll save the earth with you.
You get up over 3 now. That starts to hurt a little bit at the pump. It's amazing how much more there is. I was putting gas in the old ACK the other day.
Yeah.
She's up around 50. She used to be around 30.
You're Googling, how do I frack?
Can I frack in my backyard?
Can I frack at home? A backyard fracker? They call me that, a back fracker. That's
And
what
you're an
I
ocean peer.
That's what I wanted to. Yes, I pee in the. All right, now that's one viewpoint of it. But how high is too high? If it's $5 a gallon to keep your oceans, and I don't know that it's all about keeping the oceans clean. I'm not sure. There's a lot of stuff going on.
There's a lot more to it than that.
All right, Chris. One more call on gas prices. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just was going to say about the gas price. Under the last administration, we were energy independent.
Mm-hmm.
And Biden gets in there, and he automatically first day he shuts down these pipelines, adds back these regulations, and does all this stuff. And in less than a year, look at the price of gas now.
Well, that is a Republican viewpoint. That is a talking point that we heard a year ago, and I totally dismissed that. When people called and said exactly what you said, they said, I hope you enjoyed your gas prices. They're getting ready to go up. And I was like, yeah, right. And a year later, they did go up. And I don't know. There's a lot of complex things in there, I'm sure. I'm not sure exactly how much Biden has to do with it. If he shut down the pipeline, stopped the fracking, and
But the pipeline was never
regulations.
opened.
Did it not?
No, they didn't finish it, did they?
I don't know. I have no idea about that thing.
I don't think it ever got finished. So that's all just, that's just emotions.
Well, I don't know about the fracking, though. I think he did shut some of that down. But now fracking causes problems.
That's not a national thing, though. That's state. That's run by states who
state?
do the fracking. Yeah.
I'd have to do more research on this
Yeah.
to know if he really.
I really feel like oil prices and gas prices are so capitalistic, and it's the Exxons and the Texacos and the cartels and everyone else that's involved. That there's just not much government involved except for slapping taxes onto it once it's finished and at the pump.
Parker, you want to talk about gas prices? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just like in my adult paying life, paying bills and paying gas. Later high school, through college, into adult. Every Republican that's been in office has lower gas prices. Every Democrat that's been in office, the gas prices have skyrocketed. And you just start seeing a trend after a while. So,
Well, now, is that accurate? I thought George W. Bush had some pretty high gas prices. You remember there was a time, remember when I was going to buy the scooter?
I do remember your scooter talk.
Was that
time.
Bush?
Yeah.
I think that's Bush.
Bush too.
I think that's Dub. I think.
Like 05
Not
or
Barack.
08.
I mean, 08 is when Obama came in, so I think it was more like 04, 05, where we had gas prices around $4 a gallon, and I was at that point getting ready to ride my bike and get a scooter.
That's right.
You remember those days?
I do.
I do remember that.
Thank you, Parker. I'd have to do research
There's
on
a
that.
picture of you sitting on a scooter, and like Biggie said, maybe once a year it'll show up on the internet.
That's right. I
for
forgot.
mockery.
Yeah.
I'd have to figure out
I forgot
when that
scooter
was.
days.
I'd have to find out when it
That was 2008.
Or was it?
Yeah.
That's when Obama took off. Well, in 09.
It was the housing bust.
I think 6, 7, 8 is when I was. Yeah, the housing bust.
09.
It was the end of 8. It was the end of 8 going into 9.
09.
Yeah.
Well, that's right when Obama was elected, but probably had the Bush fingerprints on it. Ken, you're talking about gas prices. Why they high? Who to blame? Go ahead.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
No, you have to understand that this is all cyclical. It happens every 8 to 10 years with the housing market, the interest rates, the gas prices, everything. Everything has to level out at some point.
Mm-hmm. Are you saying that gas prices will go back down in the next, 6 months?
Yes.
Yes, you think so. Well, I'll say this, though. Don't you think it's a little bit different this time around because of the pandemic we've just been through? Aren't you shocked? This is economic talk now. I am shocked the stock market continues to go up and up and up, even though we have been waylaid for the last 18 months.
I've said this before, and you don't agree with me on this. I think the stock market is so totally off now as far as the general American goes on pricing, prices.
But why don't when the economy when the housing bubble happened in 2008, the stock market went down 50%. We've just been through a pandemic, which in my mind was worse. And yet it went up.
It's had a few bad days.
I don't know why.
I also think there's a different mindset with a lot of people in the stock market now after, I don't think about the stock market, not in my everyday life.
Most Americans don't.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything. The stock market has absolutely nothing to do with my everyday life now.
I check it.
Well, see,
I think people
check it about every 15 minutes. About every 15 minutes, I check it.
Open bell coming up.
Bell's coming up here in about 15.
Look, we're told, my generation and below is told, hey, you're going to work till you die anyways. So the stock market is basically just a glorified savings plan. I have a 401k.
Okay, well, that's right. Why? If you're going to work till you drop dead, why don't you just put that in your pocket?
Because I think of it as a glorified savings plan that if I need to borrow I'll borrow out.
But you got a bad tax.
You get fees
when you do that. You got to wait till you're 59 and a half. October 11th, 2021 for me. 2031, rather. 2031.
Demm's cashing in.
Yeah, but Chris Dimm's ready.
That's why he's
go.
going places.
But I don't think
God darn dog, you are. Look at that. You can go get it.
Yeah.
You ought to get in there. You ought to get in and get
Take my money back.
Well, take a little here and there. You know? Would it kill you to get us something for Christmas this year?
I swear to God. You keep traveling. Quit drinking the damn wine and buy us something.
Jeez, really? Would it kill him to go into his 401k? He's allowed. We're not allowed.
Well, if he did, he's not far off anyway.
I don't know enough about this kind of stuff to know. But the original overall point was we have no patience. We have no patience.
There's no patience. It's true. And politics is one of those things that it's the slowest moving
And of course,
thing.
the dirty little secret is that neither side wants the other side to get an advantage. It doesn't matter many times who gets in because, we heard, what's his name from Kentucky? This guy.
Oh, McConnell.
I mean, he said his goal was to have Obama pass nothing.
Right, correct.
I'm sure that's his same goal with President Biden.
But he doesn't have a say. They have the numbers. Democrats even though it's 50-50, they have the tiebreaker.
Yeah, but the filibuster's changed everything.
Well, they've done that too.
The current rules.
He can try to get around it that way. Mm-hmm. But
and he's got Joe Manchin.
But yes, and Cinema
on
his side on that $1 trillion spending. Yeah. But let's say Joe Biden had come in and the Democrats came in and everything went great. Mm-hmm. Went great. Would the midterms go the Democrats' way?
If COVID was in the rearview mirror 100%, and gas prices had stayed where they were a year ago, I think you'd still have a Democratic governor in Virginia.
I do too. I think Biggie is right. Like you sort of vote your wallet a lot of times. It's like things aren't going.
That's the American of the 20th century.
But excuse me. If I was Biden, I'd say, give me a minute. Yeah, give me a minute. Well, I've been in here 9 months.
I just got here.
Thank you. I
don't even know where all the light switches are.
In fact, where am I?
That's exactly what I said. That'd be my campaign. It's like, dude, I only had a minute and a half here.
I still use a map to get to the kitchen.
When you move into a new house, you don't know where things are.
You know where the light switch is.
Right.
Where's the plug in the wall?
Give me a minute here.
But if you think about the broad picture too, if you're a progressive Democrat, some are. If you think about them, some would say we're glad gas prices are going up. You know why? Mm-hmm. Get you off the gas and get you on the electric. Mm-hmm. Buy more of those cars.
Well, the companies are starting to make them.
They're making them. They're available, and a lot of people see it that way. So, let the gas prices go as high as they want because there's other things. There's other things you can do.
Really? You
there's
think
options. Exactly. That's right.
Turn his mic off.
I'm not supporting it. I'm
Turn
saying
his liberal mic off.
Biggie has pressed the hippie alarm.
Hippie.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
Look at the big picture. That's what your progressive Dems say.
Your AOC.
Yeah, they want a cleaner
Brett
Earth.
could have it.
The climate, the global. Let's go green, baby.
Boy, I didn't think about that.
Let it go high. Let
No.
that gas price go high. You've got an option out there. Go buy a new car. When you buy your daughter a car in a few years, it'll be electric. Make sure you get an extra extender cable for the plug for the car, not just your phone.
Woo, Dave.
Every time you say AOC, a gun gets unloaded.